Flaming Dragon Friday.
It is.
The Day of the Dragon.
Flaming Dragon Friday,
Got
brother.
Tim Brando on Flaming Dragon Friday. What's going to happen? Timmy B, Flaming Dragon Friday. It's like a Michael Bay movie.
It's a new Avengers movie.
Like,
What happens if Tim says your name?
no, see, that doesn't count though.
Not
It's got to be. It's got to be us.
Sure.
But Blaine, you said you had a buddy.
Yeah.
Tell everybody this story.
So I have a buddy who remained nameless, one of my good friends, big LSU fan. He's a roofer. He does roofs. So he lives down in Fairhope, Alabama. So he's going to help one of his buddies, one of his jobs. He's going to help one of his buddy on the warehouse on a roof. And he ended up falling through the roof, broke his wrist, broke a rib.
How far did he fall?
32 feet.
Oh.
Broke a bone in his eye, had blood on his brain, so he had to get life flighted
What?
to the hospital. This was 3 days ago. So he's had a couple surgeries. He's actually going home today.
He's going home today.
He's going
Great.
home today.
So what did you tell him he should start trying to do?
Well, I was like, at this point, man, I mean, this is one of those things where you bump your head. Next thing you know, you're moving stuff with your mind.
Yeah.
It's one of those superhero
Origin story,
comic
for
book
sure.
things. Like you need to start everything you walk in
Touching
by.
it. Start touching it.
It's slight things. You don't need to try to go full, right? Just maybe a quick push. Maybe a quick pull. It's like a gym day. We pushing and pulling. We're trying to pull objects.
Yeah.
Trying to push objects. Are we trying to read minds? Our lasers coming out of the eyes. Let's test our speed.
Yeah.
Start picking stuff up. You never know.
Why can I climb the side of this building why are my hands? That's Spider-Man.
Real origin story.
It is.
It really
Like a
could.
blue collar.
I hope it is. I'd love to know a superhero.
Absolutely. But Jay, I'm glad you're going home, bud.
Blaine said he will remain nameless.
They'll never find you. I forgot you're on Love and Fairhope.
Yeah, H&J. My bad.
shall remain nameless.
Just might as well get his social at this point.
Yeah, glad to see he's better. You can also send him mail at, no, I'm just kidding. The Steelers come back in the fourth quarter to beat Will Levis and the Titans. Texas Tech hangs on to win against in-state rival TCU in a shootout. And we're breaking down the keys to victory for the biggest college football matchups in Week 10. I'm Jake Crane. It's Flamin' Dragon Friday. Let's all get to the weekend together, people. Welcome to Crane & Company. Now, I would venture to guess that most of us have been in that long relationship with a person that we thought could possibly be the one. That relationship that even though it had some exciting times early and we had been through a lot, just ends up dragging on with most of the excitement and those thoughts of actually taking the big leap dissipating. The one we knew would inevitably have to end, but nobody was willing to make the move. Well, that has to be what it's like to be an A&M football fan under Jimbo Fisher. I mean, it's just got to be. I mean, every time a new year rolls around, there's a sign of a spark, maybe in recruiting, maybe it's off the field, and you think maybe if we make it 6 more months, just 6 more months, it'll all turn around, and we'll turn into a great story of love and redemption. But it always falls back to the norm. And hell, A&M even tried bringing a new person into the relationship to jolt it back to life in Bobby Petrino. But yet still here we sit, 5-3, fourth in the division, with a hurt quarterback and going on the road once again to face a ranked SEC team. Now spare me the buyout talk, because let's not pretend that A&M doesn't have the money. And the $9.5 million drop if they hold on to him another year, to some of these guys is a couple weekends in Vegas with a mistress or two. Now, if A&M falls this weekend, likely on their way to a 7-5 record at best, would it be better to just rip the Band-Aid off and break up? Or will the merry-go-round continue through 2024? Now, as someone who still believes Jimbo could eventually run into a big year, it may actually be better to just get it over with. I mean, I've been one of his biggest proponents, but you got to stop holding on at some point. Because what's worse, the prospect of false hope or the fear of the unknown? It obviously depends on who you go get or what the market bears. Would Urban Meyer listen? What about Mike Elko? They just won again last night at Duke. Or is there someone else out there who wants to wait until the end of the season to make their move? Now, either way, this feels like the biggest game of the Jimbo Fisher era. And if the Aggies make it over their last 9 against SEC-ranked teams on the road, it could be his last. Now, regardless, this relationship feels like it's run its course. And eventually, someone's going to have to grow a pair and get out before the new year hits, or you think maybe a kid will save you. I'm bringing in David Cohn now, former Michigan quarterback. Obviously, best friends with Connor Stallions. We all know it. And my brother, former Western State Colorado wide receiver Blaine Crane as well. David, I feel like, we talk about this and we talk about this and we talk about this with the A&M and Jimbo Fisher. But I don't know what would be better long term in your mind. Like let's run this ground ball out. Say they go 7-5 this year.
Mm-hmm.
Say in 2024, which I kind of circled as the moment, right? The where it can actually turn. Let's say you go 10-2, right? You sneak in the college football playoff and you lose in the first round. You're like, all right, Jimbo is definitely our guy. Let's sign him another long-term contract. But this is actually what you're going to get most of the time. Or is it better just rip the Band-Aid off and, hey, Oklahoma and Texas are coming in. We got to go find our guy.
A lot of it is what we talk about, which is what is the market bearing? Like, who can you go get? The dragon over there, excuse me, I don't want to say his government name, but the dragon
God,
is saying, hey,
I forgot the graphic.
Go get Urban Meyer.
Right.
Like, if that's an actual possibility, you get Urban Meyer to coach your football team.
For sure.
Right? Like, but also the grass is not always greener on the other side. Now, it's so rare to find a college football coach who has won a national championship who's willing to come over and coach your team, and that's what Texas A&M thought that they were getting, and it hasn't been good. Now, I feel bad that Connor Wegman went down this season because we had identified him at the beginning of the year as, hey, Jimbo finally got that guy at the quarterback position who can really help him win football games. They lost on the road at Miami with a healthy Connor Wegman too. And I just don't know if he would have made the difference against a loss at Alabama and a loss at Tennessee. You got 4 games left here. Ole Miss on the road, Mississippi State at home, Abilene Christian at home, on the road at LSU. If they're able to win 3 of those, like if they could split the Ole Miss and LSU game and go 8-4, you think he comes back next year, right?
Yeah, I think 8-4 and he's back. I think 7-5, there's a legitimate chance that especially if it's, you look bad against LSU last game of the year, too. If you lose this one, you look bad against LSU last game of the year. I think they'd be willing to do it. I think they're actually willing to do it now. I think they've had the money. But I want to go ahead and get this. To my right, I misspoke. I used his government name a second ago. We all know who it is. Play it.
This is flaming.
Hey! 1.5, boys.
It gets me every
1.5
that.
today. One's already slid, but it doesn't count.
You weren't intro.
Jake keep blowing the intro every Friday.
Maybe I'm doing it
1.5.
on purpose.
1.5.
Sandbagging.
1.5.
I will bring up 2 things, and I said this to Billy Lucci one time when it comes to Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M. A lot of people at the University of Michigan were ready to run Jim Harbaugh out of town after losing to his rival year after year, and then the COVID year especially, which was sort of an anomaly, but still, you win 2 games, something like that, things just fell off the rails. And then remember, Mike Norvell was on the hot seat a year ago at Florida State, too. He's both those coaches right now are on the cusp of making the college football playoff this season. The difference with Texas A&M to me is it just feels bad. Like it looks bad,
missing,
it feels bad. Now, part of that could be just this carousel at quarterback with these injuries and stuff, but this is the sophomore year of that number 1 recruiting class he had.
Yeah.
Right? This is their sophomore year. At some point, you got to win double-digit games.
No,
At the very least.
Look, I agree with that 100%. And Flaming, again, you've been a very staunch critic of A&M. You have this whole time.
Are you? I have. You sure?
Yeah.
I know. You're right.
Okay. But I just you say something's off. Everything looks hard. It's not. It's just crazy because it just seems like every time A&M, you feel like they're going to take that jump.
Mm-hmm.
They find a way, whether it's the front 7 being elite, one of the best front 7s in college football, but the secondary's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Offensively, you show spurts, right? And I know the quarterback injury situation, things like that, but it just seems like with Jimbo Fisher and A&M, they were just it's Murphy's Law.
Yeah.
If it can go wrong at the one time you don't need it to, it will go wrong. And I don't, do I think we live in the Matrix? Possibly.
Simulation.
Is it a simulation? Possibly. But if you're an A&M fan, I mean, how much can you take? Like, I really got a ton of respect for these people. Like, you think I'm playing around? 1939? 1939. Look, as an Auburn fan, we hadn't won one since 1957. I obviously don't remember that, but we did go undefeated in 2004. Yeah, man, some of that right there. The club. Anyways, like went undefeated in 2004. Then we win in 2010. These people hadn't won one, David, a natty since 1939. We hadn't even dropped into Normandy yet, dog. Like, not only that, you come to the SEC, never won the West. Never won it. Have never won it, played the SEC championship.
It just feels like they're always 2 steps forward, 1 step backwards, right? It just the thing about it is it's like you have the guys, right? There's no excuse. You have the guys came in. Hell, you paid half the country to come play for your football team, and you got worse. Let's go through it a little bit. All right, let's be honest here. It's the honesty hour. That's what we're gonna do. I mean, 45-22. All right, ranked games. You're 12-14. Is that good enough?
No.
Okay, it's not, right?
You're 0-9, 0-8 on
That's
the
Kevin
road.
Sumlin's record at A&M.
Yeah.
All right. Jimbo's Fisher is 43-24. This is through the first 67 games. All right. And he's 9-14. All right. Kevin Sumlin got his ass fired. Right? But Jimbo's still sitting up there. Why? And you're paying Jimbo a lot more you're paying Kevin.
And Kevin Sumlin had it running like a nightclub up there.
And hell, at least he had a Heisman winner. You had a couple good years.
And it was fun to watch.
But I just don't understand what we're waiting on.
Well, yeah.
All right? Sometimes the knight in shining armor is not going to show up. Sometimes it's just going to be a princess just up there. Can I say bitching? I'm going to say bitching in the castle with a knight who never shows up. It's just some guy. It's the IRS actually shows up. Next thing you know, you're screwed. All right, we got to get past this. It's over. A&M, the Jimbo Fisher era, it's done.
Well, this isn't, like you brought up Mike Norvell. Good point. How long has he been at Florida State, though? I mean, we brought up, Dabo was close, right, at Clemson. Remember, they were about ready to run Dabo off. I think it was, year 4 that Dabo hit? Something like that. Jimbo, you've been there for how long? You were there before COVID. Like, at some point, like, the honeymoon has to end.
Mike Norvell was 3-6. That was the COVID year, right?
Yep.
The year after that, 5-7. Then he went 10-3 last year.
Then he went 10-3.
First
So third year it hit.
Florida State's first winning season since 2017. And then obviously this year they're undefeated.
Yeah, can we pull up Jimbo's? Because I know they went 9-1 during COVID. They went 9-1 during COVID. Everybody got all hot and bothered and excited. And then it kind of just regressed down to back
Got
to
it,
the
Dave?
mean.
Yep, I got it. All right, so since he's been there,
Yes.
since he took over for Kevin Sumlin.
What year? Can you say the year?
2018, he went 9-4. 2019, he went 8-5.
Okay.
COVID year 2020, 9-1.
Here we go.
They had a legitimate conversation or a legitimate argument to make the college football playoff that year. They were that first team out, really. 2021, 8-4.
Okay.
Last year, first losing record there, 5-7, and right now they sit 5-3 with 4 games remaining.
At some point, you got to move. And what a better look. And I've talked about Urban Meyer, Michigan State. I promise you, I'm not every time a job pops open saying Urban Meyer needs to get it or it's a great fit. But what would be a better fit than Urban Meyer and A&M? You say, Jake, why? Why would that be a great fit? What makes that such a great fit? Not only would it be a great fit, I think it'd be love at first sight. You want to know why? Let's look at some numbers. Like I said, 1939. You got a guy who wants to get back in it, broken a little bit, right? We know what happened with the Jags, okay? And people act like Urban Meyer is just like this domestic terrorist that's done all these terrible things. He really hasn't. He worked some guys a little too hard. Maybe he cares a little bit too much. I would love for my coach to almost have a heart attack on the sideline because he cares so much. God, that's wow. It's like, I don't know, like having one of your fans write a manifesto. Not exactly going to get pissed about it unless something tragic happens. But
Mad about it.
Urban Meyer wants to get back in it, wants to go to a big brand, right? Say what you want about A&M. They're a big brand. They're in the SEC. They can pay as good as anybody. That oil money's that long money, right? That put it in the machine or see how much it weighs. We'll find out how much it is money, okay? And then you got A&M. Let's be honest. About willing to do whatever it takes. If you're willing to dress up in overalls like that and scream into the woods, you are willing to do whatever it takes. And Urban Meyer's not Lex Luthor. He's not this evil. He's not the Joker. He doesn't want to go take out half the city. You know what he wants to do? He wants to have his name up in lights. He's probably tired of hearing about Nick Saban, who may be on his way out, right? Urban Meyer, seeing what Michigan's doing, I'm telling you right now, I think it's a perfect fit. It may be love at first sight. Urban Meyer texting, he'd win. Best believe he'd win.
I've been saying
Guaranteed.
this. I've been saying this. If you're going to go get a guy, all right, you go get Urban Meyer. And how bad do you want to win, A&M? That's what it comes down to. Urban Meyer's not a great guy. Obviously, he's not. You saw the 30-30 hell. He's kicking guys. I mean, he's at Hooters getting danced on by a bunch of chicks. We know that.
I mean,
but that doesn't
honestly,
matter.
Chuck Norris says the same
That doesn't
thing.
matter.
Describe Chuck Norris.
Like, you think these coaches are great guys? You think they're going to church on Sundays, doing this, baking cookies on Christmas?
They're people.
It's the mob, brother. That's what it is. It's the mob. And Urban's one of the Dons, all right? So if you want to come have a Don coach your team, a captain, an upper Don, then you go get Urban. And we don't talk about what he does off the field.
No.
We don't.
No.
We protect that. That's why I always go back when Hugh Freeze at Ole Miss. I don't blame Hugh Freeze. I blame his buddies.
Yeah, what's it like?
How the hell are you going to let him call on a school phone? Who's your friends, all right? Who's your PR guys?
No, like, hey, where's Urban at? He's watching tape. That'd be my answer every time. Like, hey, we're just trying to get tabs on where Coach Meyer is. You know, we just paid him $400 million. We want to make sure he's all right. But, like, he's watching film. You want anything? Like, do you need anything? You need some help? Whatever. Oh, yeah, Coach. Yeah, no, that is definitely covered too.
Like, it's
definitely
your job for
covered too.
A&M. Do you turn Urban's life into the Truman Show?
I'm not saying Nick Saban. I'm not saying Nick Saban is a perfect guy. I'm sure he has plenty in his closet too, but I think it's not a coincidence that the guy who's winning the most championship also doesn't have all this off the field.
Whoa. Well, you say that. You say that.
I've heard some things. They might have surfaced to the public.
You say that. Not one person showed up from Michigan State to get on the plane with Nick Saban to go to LSU.
Oh, people don't like him.
I remember
know
Nick
these guys
Saban making NFL players cry during the stretch lines. So we're going to...
That's not mob stuff. He's talking about he's comparing coaches to mob. Working your players hard and your assistant coaches hard so they don't like you. And that's not being in the mafia.
Oh, I don't know. Depends on who the boss is. Like, I don't think Blaine saying Urban Meyer's out here running like hitting up shops in the middle of downtown to make sure they're paying protection money.
That's my point. That's my point. There's a line here. Let's be clear with what we're talking about.
Well, yeah, they're not going out to do a hit on a Sunday morning.
Urban Meyer's not giving.
But
he's like, I want Harbaugh and his crew whacked.
Right? The way they run things is mobbish. All right, you don't think Nick Saban's finding every way to get ahead? All right, what do the mob do? Every way. Hell, Harbaugh's part of the mob. He's a captain too. Y'all here stealing signs. All right, that's mob mentality.
Oh, here's still,
and I love it.
You ain't trying.
I love it.
Right? Yeah, I love it too. And Urban's, he even got that look to him, right? He got a little Italian in him, a little bit of the smorgasbord in him. But I'd rather have a guy like that than some pity-patty, I'm okay, you're okay, and that's okay type of head coach.
See,
that's not going to win you games.
Well, that's what surprised me about Matt Rule's pregame speech. I thought Matt Rule was maybe a little bit like, all right, guys, listen, let's just, here's what I want to do, all right? Today, I just want to go out there and enjoy it, right? Mm-hmm. Each other, that's who we are, together. All right, let's enjoy each other, friendship, loving it. Matt Rule, I looked at that speech, I was like, God almighty, okay.
It's not about having fun, it's about winning.
Yeah, you know what's fun?
Winning
You know what's fun? Is winning. That's what's fun. To me, that's what's fun. That's if I would look up what's fun in the dictionary, it'd have a picture of me holding, like, something that I've won. Because that, to me, is fun. Maybe I'm a product of my environment. But we're going to get to the Boost Club in 1 second. We have calls and Timmy B. Speaking about products, when it comes down to skincare, okay, I don't care if you're Urban Meyer or I don't care if you're, on the Derelict campaign on Zoolander.
Hot right now.
You need to look good. That Hansel, he's on fire right now. And with our friends at Genucel, they've got you covered. Male, female, doesn't matter, whatever. This Christmas, too, it is an incredible gift. Just trust me on this. And guess what? Genucel, they just launched a new product. It's called the Genucel 3. No, it's not something you throw in space. It's something you put on your face, which will make your bags and puffiness disappear, along with dark circles, fine lines, crow's feet, and firm up that eye contour area. It's smoother, it's more luxurious, and it uses advanced technology to deliver complex vitamins and minerals that I'm too stupid to understand directly to your face for instant hydration. They sum it up best, David. You want to know how they describe it? It's like Gatorade for your skin.
Really?
Now you're speaking my language.
Gatorade for
I know
your
exactly what you mean when you put it in that way. Our producer, Justine, loves it. The under eye cream, she talks about it all the time. Isn't that right, PJ?
It does.
Love it.
Yep. And we have the new Genucel 3 product on the way, so she can add this to her skincare routine for even longer, and you can too. So go to Genucel.com/booster. Or you can call 800-SKIN 211 for extra discounts on this amazing fall package. Get results in 12 hours or less. The immediate effects are included for free. That's Genucel, GENUCEL.com/booster, or call 800-SKIN-211. You have skin in the game. I made that slogan up. Also, we have merch, and we're doing a live stream for the LSU-Bama game. That's right.
Let's go, baby.
That's
I can't wait. A lot of money.
And Washington USC's on, too.
Tomorrow, yes, and we'll have USC Washington on as well. So if you want to come hang out with us while you watch the game, we watch the game. We'll be breaking it down, doing live bets, taking your questions, comments, whether you're pissed off, whether you're happy, whether you're trash talking. Come hang out with us. It's a great time. Grab some of that merch, too. We'd really appreciate it. I was trying to get it to where we could debut and show you some of the new stuff today, but we got to take a little bit more time. We want to make sure that it's perfect so you can have the perfect product. Flaming. I almost said it.
It's getting there. All right, let's go, chat. Great day today. Let's get the feet chopping. I want to keep this chat popping, all right? I'm potent, didn't even know it. Let's go to Totally Bogus. Hashtag Ask Crane and Company. Is it time? We admit that Jimbo Fisher is mid. Is he Mark Richt's Spider-Man, Jeff?
First off, I think it's disrespectful to Mark Richt when you look at the amount of games that Mark Richt won. Let's not fall into the trap of, okay, Mark Richt didn't win a national championship at Georgia, therefore Mark Richt and Jimbo Fisher are the same. Jimbo and them haven't even sniffed it. Maybe you could say COVID year 9-1. You can go back. We made an argument they should have been in it. Okay, take that year out. Really hadn't sniffed it. At least Mark Richt got close sometimes. Let's make sure we don't fall into that trap.
Mark walked so Kirby could run.
Yes, that's exactly right. Mark walked so Kirby could run. I mean, Jackie Cheryl stole so Jimbo Fisher could steal even more. I don't know.
Both with Florida State roots, too.
I know.
Yeah.
I agree with everything you're saying, and yet I wonder if you asked Mark Richt, would he trade the record that he had for the national championship and have Jimbo Fisher's tenure? I wonder if he would say yes.
I think Mark Richt would do whatever he thought was best for the players that he coached. I think he's that type of guy. That's a good question.
And that's an example of a guy. I wouldn't describe Mark Richt as like the head of the mafia.
See, those are
That's
the ones.
true. Did he win a natty?
That's what I mean. That's what we're talking about.
Damn, tough. Let's go to Eddie. What's up, Eddie? Hashtag CNC. How pissed is Bobby Petrino thinking this was going to be a springboard job to get into be a head coach?
Look, I think Bobby P's sitting in a good spot. The biggest one of the questions that I find the most fascinating in the alternate realm of Jimbo Fisher being fired is, where does Bobby Petrino go? Like, somebody's going to hire Bobby Petrino. Like, this isn't going to be some Bobby P's like, oh man, I guess it's back to painting fences. No, like, somebody will hire Bobby Petrino. I wonder where would be, if you think. Let me ask you this. Duke wouldn't hire Bobby Petrino. If Mike Elko left and took it, I'm trying to think of a job where somebody leaves Arizona, even in Power 5. Arizona, that's not a bad.
Is Jed Fish leaving though?
I feel like someone should go get him.
If somebody snags Jed Fish, that's not a bad thought there. Like, or like if Jeff Traylor gets picked up by somebody, UTSA's head coach, does Bobby Petrino go there? He'd take that. You take Missouri State, you take that.
I think there's going to be a lot of movement when this.
Well, it better start, because it hadn't started yet. It's the first time in like 13, 14 years that I saw Ross Dellinger put something out that like a Power 5 head coach hasn't been, fired up to this point. It's pretty interesting.
All right, make sure y'all hit that like and subscribe button. Let's go to Philip Lenz. What's up, Philly?
Hey, hit like and subscribe, man.
He says, I want Elko back. He should have already been offered the job. I was a big fan of Jimbo when he got here, but he had one good season, and since then, nada.
Did I tell you, man? Something about Mike Elko I just like. Mm-hmm. Like last night, that was a gritty-ass win by Duke last night. Riley Leonard's out. You got
third-string
quarterbacks in there. They just find a way. And you know what? You know what I like? And I need to make sure to go back and look at the numbers, but just from watching Duke and Mike Elko, I don't think he's one of these huge analytics guys that's like, oh, well, it's 4th and less than 3, and it was a full moon 2 nights ago, and, I'd sacrificed a chicken, so we're going to go for it. Like, Mike Elko last night's like, all right, we're down 7. There's 6.5 minutes to go. They got a big turnover on a crazy play where the ball slipped out of the quarterback's hands in the 4th quarter. And they go 3 and out, and they're almost at midfield. It's 4th and 4. And instead of going for it like probably 90% of the coaches would nowadays, he punts it and pins them, gets the ball back, goes and scores a touchdown, stops them one more time. goes and kicks a field goal. I don't know, man. Just something about Mike Elko, I just look at him, and he may not be the nicest guy in the world. I just feel like the man can coach. Like the man, and he's got that genuine realness in him when he talks to the players. It's not some, just company corporate line. Like he's really in there. Like you're going to know that I care about you enough where I'm going to rip your ass all the time, and it's going to be very hard, but you'll be better for it. And they believe him. That's the thing.
What do they always say? You need to get worried when I stop ripping your ass, right?
Yeah.
When I stop yelling at you on the side.
But also probably like really, really funny. I want to make sure we get to keys to victory. We're going to get back to the chat. Got to get to calls too here eventually.
All right, well, since we're talking about Texas A&M, they go on the road to Ole Miss. What are the keys to victory?
God, I feel like this game's going to be high scoring, right? So to me, if you're Ole Miss, it's can you get some semblance of the run game against this A&M front seven? And it's not just for the obvious reason of, it brings you balance. Oh, well, it opens up the pass game. It helps in protection, right? I feel like if Ole Miss plays this game clean, they can almost not wait out Texas A&M, but they're at home. I think they'll make more explosive plays on offense eventually because of A&M's secondary than A&M will on offense. But it seems like if you can run the ball, that the way that Lane does play action, the way he does it off gap scheme, the way he does it off zone scheme, the way he does it out of 10 personnel, even the token fake stuff, if the run game is legitimate, that's where people are really, really, really catching A&M with their pants down and in the secondary. And that doesn't mean you're running for 4.5 yards a carry. Like you're just running well enough where the safeties have to take it serious. You're running well enough where you can hold those eyes on the play action. You can hide that ball and take that shot. Because make no mistake, Lane knows this secondary is vulnerable from A&M. He watched what Miami did to him and Tyler Van Dyke. He watched A&M's defense make Jalen Milroe look like Drew Brees for that whole game. So if you get any sort of semblance of a run game with Quinshon Judkins, that play action game will slow that pass rush down a little bit to help give those guys even more time. And with the weapons, I think Ole Miss hit some big plays. I think it's just having some semblance of a run game. Doesn't have to be perfect, just has to be good enough.
All right, Notre Dame at Clemson.
I tell you what, man, the more this goes on, the more I like Clemson.
Why?
This game. I just feel like Notre Dame and Clemson, from the skill position standpoint, offensively, and the way they match up their offenses versus the defenses, I don't think they're good enough to separate that much. Like, I feel like this game is going to be back and forth and within one score almost the whole time. And I will lean on the home team and Dabo and them circling the wagons when it's all negative. If any culture can sustain all this negativity, I think it's Dabo's family over everything type of mentality that he has. Everybody threw him out, left him for dead. When they went to go play Syracuse after losing to Florida State, Cade Klubnik played one of his best games. What a better way to not totally shift the narrative, but take a little bit of pressure off your head coach and all this negativity by beating a ranked Notre Dame team at home at Clemson. I think the key to victory is the same for both teams. Which wide receiver group makes the big plays? Whoever does that, because I don't think teams are going to score touchdowns in the red zone in this game, buddy, with these defenses running the ball just straight into a wall. So give me explosive plays on the outside.
Notre Dame with a 48-20 victory over Southern California and a 58-7 win over Pitt since losing to Louisville.
Yeah, they're playing good football right now. And if you look at a team like this on both sides when the skill positions are close, I mean, what separates you is the quarterback play. That's what it does. And one has Sam Hartman and one has a struggling Cade Klubnik. And I think a lot of this is going to come down, if you're Clemson, can you get to Sam before? All right, can you make Sam speed up his clock? All right, Sam had made a couple mistakes this year that we're not used to seeing. But which quarterback turns the ball over less and who can score touchdowns?
So this is I agree with that. This is whoever doesn't lose this game wins.
Absolutely. And you got to think Sam Hartman being with the experience that he has and the ways that he's been playing this year. I mean, Cade threw 2 picks last week against NC State. Cade Klubnik is not playing good football.
Well, he's up and down. He's up and down as a young quarterback. But I watched Jack Plummer out-safe Sam Hartman for 4 quarters.
Well, I feel like the offense was beating up Notre Dame on defense, and Notre Dame could not get a push in that game at all. So I think that game's going to be a little bit – Louisville's a hell of a lot better team than Clemson. A lot better team than Clemson. I think you show that, and that shows that in their record. Clemson's 2-4 in conference. They're 4-4. Clemson's not a great football team right now, but Notre Dame playing some of their best football. Estimate's coming along. Sam Hartman's playing phenomenal. Your defense is starting to come along a little bit. I feel like where Notre Dame is right now and where Clemson is right now, you can obviously, it's going to be a home game for Clemson, so they're going to come out and fight, but I think Notre Dame is too experienced and too prepared.
You said Notre Dame scored 48 against USC? Cal scored 49. So I don't know how much I'd take after if we're going to look at USC's. And again, Notre Dame, I think Notre Dame is who they are. They're playing some of their best football. I mean, yeah, I think you could say that. But, you look at Pitt. Well, right now, the way they're playing rhymes with something else that ends in IT. And then USC's defense, you got taken down by the Lollipop Guild on the Yellow Brick Road almost, getting a 49-piece dropped on you by Cal, who, I mean, the only 49 that would happen with me and Cal is what I'd make on any of their tests right now if you put one in front of me out of 100. And
fun one.
That'd be if it went good.
Fun matchup out of the Big 12. Kansas 6-2 goes to Iowa State. Iowa State's 5-3 right now.
God.
Who knows?
Not touching.
Kansas?
Not touching.
Is Daniels back this week? Do we know?
I'm assuming that Jason Bean's playing quarterback.
That's probably not.
Sometimes I don't know what's the way Bean plays. Sometimes I'm like,
they have one of the best quarterback rooms in the country.
I watch him, I'm like, this dude's a problem. But I feel like he's been like the backup quarterback that's come in and done this for like 7 years.
Yeah.
You have the backup quarterback that's waited a long time and finally gets his chance, like Carson Beck at Georgia. Then you have the backup quarterback that seems like he's been playing. Like, if I close my eyes, I can literally convince myself Jason Bean's been the starting quarterback for Kansas.
It's somewhat refreshing, right? In the era of the transfer portal. I mean, Bean stuck around.
I know.
Yeah. And I mean, sometimes the grass isn't always greener on the other side, man. Sometimes you stick around.
Well, people don't talk about that enough, too.
You fight through adversity. Well, kids these days, the one thing of adversity shows, I'm going to tuck my tail and go running. Yeah. And I mean, good for Bean, man. This game's interesting. This game is really hard to project because Iowa State's been the guy from Split all year. I mean, you look at the way they started off, then they figure it out. Then you look at Kansas. I think Kansas is kind of who they've been under Lance Leipold. That's another name for A&M. I don't think they'd be crazy to look at Lance Leipold. I think a key to this game is which team scores on the periphery. This game feels like it's going to come down to a crazy touchdown that has nothing to do with the offense. Like that the offense doesn't score. Either the defense scores it, it's a block punt, it's the special teams. Which team is going to score that touchdown on the periphery to win? Because I feel like this is going to be a very entertaining game. Mm-hmm. Like this would be a fun game to watch on the multi-view.
Garrett Nussmeier at LSU is another kid like that.
Yep.
Stuck around, is back up now. Last one for keys to victory here. UCLA 6-2 at Arizona 5-3. Arizona's been putting together a good season.
Do we believe in Arizona? Yeah. Do we believe in Arizona enough to take a money line here?
Look at my dog picks. Look at my dog picks.
And you've been hot on dogs. I had both mine last week, but you've hit like your last four dogs.
Oh, bud.
So
here's Arizona, and we were talking about this during All Access yesterday. What a fortunate position to be in that your fan bases are arguing over who should play quarterback, and they both played well. Mm-hmm. Like what a great. Most time it's the other way. It's like, well, either the starter was playing okay, and then the backup came in and looked better. So do we leave the backup in, or the starter was playing good, now the backup comes in and he's just super mid. We're trying to get through it. When's he going to be healthy? Or they both suck, and who's the third string guy? Do we just need to go Wildcat or find a way to somehow run the veer or triple option? No, that's not the problem Jed Fish has. Jed Fish is looking, it's like, they're both playing so good. Can we get both of them out there? Like, so I love Chip Kelly. I'm going to go Arizona.
It's not a bad pick. It's not a bad pick. I wonder if the
home?
I wonder what the spread is on this.
2?
2.5.
2.5 UCLA?
Yeah.
2.5 UCLA? Oh, God. I'd probably buy it up to 3.5, and I'd probably take Arizona to cover that.
You're definitely.
I mean, look at their losses. This is what hurts the most, right? You're at Mississippi State, you lose in overtime 31-24. Week 2, I feel like they played again to be a little bit different. I mean, you took Washington to the wire, 31-24, and you went to triple overtime against USC and lost 43-41. Last 2 weeks, you beat Washington State's ass, 44-6, and you beat a good Oregon State football team.
Yeah.
And the thing about Arizona, this is what makes their head coach so great. You're winning in multiple ways, right? And that's a show of what? A great culture and a great football team. Man, it's hard to pick against these guys. If anything, I'd pick them to cover to 3.5, 100%.
I love it. All right, we got Tim Brando coming in soon. So let's recap this NFL game last night, Thursday Night Football. Steelers score with 4 minutes left in the fourth to beat the Titans 20-16, and that game was in Pittsburgh. Will Levis Look pretty good.
Look good.
Yeah.
Look good.
Here's what I'll say: if you're a Titans fan, and listen, I'm here in Nashville. I rock the hoodie all the time. Right? I'm over here hoping the Titans do well. Will Levis did nothing last night that I look at and say, all right, don't trust him.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's going to be ups and downs. Right? You're starting, especially when you have such a great first appearance, right? It's hard for that encore performance when you just went out there and nailed the soprano. Like to come out and nail it again the same way the next night to that extent is tough. If you're a Titans fan, forget Super Bowl this year. There's one important thing to watch. Can Will Levis turn into a guy that you end up getting a steal in that second round pick? That's what it's about. Not winning the Super Bowl. Because Tannehill's got to go. Okay, you're never winning a Super Bowl with Tannehill. I'm sorry. It's just sorry, not sorry, to be honest with you. It's been a great run. You're not going to do it with him. Malik Willis, I don't think people should totally quit on him yet. But after what Will Levis did week 1, I said it takes 7 to 9 games for me. Hell, we're still learning about Brock Purdy, like over at the 49ers. Like this is a marathon, not a sprint. There will be ups and downs. But right now, just early returns, bought the stock, took some of the money out of savings, put it in the stock, early returns. I'm not pissed.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't look lost, like totally lost. There's going to be times where he does look lost. There's going to be some turnovers. There'll be some ugly plays. But it looks like Will Levis, while it is moving fast, that he belongs. Like
we've always known he throws a great ball.
Yeah.
A lot of guys throw a great ball. Zach Wilson throws a great ball, right? The strong arm. The way he was layering the ball last night,
yeah.
And the accuracy is what really stood out to me. I'm like, man, this kid can 100% play on this level. I'll tell you what's tough to me, though, when I watch this Titans team. Mike Vrabel, especially early in his career here with Tennessee, the identity to me was have an unbelievable defense, a blue-collar-minded, tough defense, and then run the ball, right? The defense last night, you'll get no sacks, no interceptions, no forced fumbles, and then the run game on offense, 105 yards. Derrick Henry did have 75 yards on 17 carries, but you got outrushed by Pittsburgh with 166 rushing yards. Will Levis needs that help. Will Levis needs the early Mike Vrabel tenure here with a strong defense and being able to run the ball when you have one of the best running backs in the league.
Well, we did talk about protection for the mob. I mean, what's the two best ways to protect a young quarterback? Have a great run game and have a great defense.
Yes.
Those are the two best ways.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know to sit here and like, first of all, I was tough on Will Levis coming out. I really was. I didn't think he'd be that great. But, I mean, you just look what he did last night. You got to think this kid's, it's his first legitimate start. I mean, you look around the rookie QBs all around the NFL. I mean, he's playing some of the best football out of all of them. And it's not like your offensive line's good. They're terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, you're so banged up front. Will's getting hit every play. Steelers secondary is one of the worst in the league. But I go back last week. I mean, you beat a top 5 secondary in the Atlanta Falcons. But it's nice having Nuke Hopkins, Treylon Burks coming back. You have Derrick Henry. You have pieces. But I look right now at Will Levis, and I look at that guy on the other side of Pittsburgh Steelers, and I like Will Levis more than I like Kenny Pickett.
See, I'm gonna be easy.
I think the ceiling is so much higher for Will Levis than what you get in Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett's making the same mistakes.
But is the floor lower? I agree the ceiling's higher.
No, I don't think so. It'd be different. It'd be different if Will was just sitting in the pocket making mistakes, but he's doing this under duress. He's doing it when bullets are flying. The offensive line is not great for the Steelers, but Kenny's making and Kenny has pieces too. Deontay Johnson, great player. George Pickens, great player. I mean, you have Najee at back. Your backup's good. I mean, you're fired. He didn't play this game. He was out this game. But you have a pretty good defense. Your front seven's nasty. You have one of the best rushers in the NFL. But Kenny Pickett seems to be a bust. He seems to be a bust. People don't want to say it. That's fine. You're not getting over the hump with Kenny Pickett.
What's a bust? Like, not being a Hall of Famer can't be classified as a bust anymore, right?
Good enough. Like, Kenny Pickett's not good enough to win you 2 playoff games.
Okay, well, here's what I'm going to say. We see this in Major League Baseball a lot. Okay, we see this in all sports. This is why you never want to get too high. You never want to get too low early in somebody's career. I've watched guys get called up from AA and from AAA and go out in the first couple starts in Major League Baseball, absolutely shove it. And the first thing you think is, oh my God, Cy Young winner. We have this legitimate ace pitcher, could possibly be a Hall of Famer. Is this one of the best pitchers we've ever had? And then all of a sudden that 4th start rolls around. And then that 5th start and that 6th start. And they start getting shelled. Mm-hmm. Right? Like there's boats sitting off the coast with cannons while you're hiding on an island. Absolutely shelled. because the book is now out on them and they have to adjust to the adjustment. Will Levis, I think, snuck the Falcons a little bit. I think he snuck them.
You might be right.
And again, that's not saying that Will Levis didn't do it. Will Levis had to do that. DeAndre Hopkins had to play that well. But I would caution everybody of a couple performances, because defenses adjust. They catch up. The longer you play, the more tendencies you develop. So until I see this player, Will Levis, adjust to the adjustment, I'm not going to make any sort of either he's a bust, even Kenny Pickett. I think we need a little more time to see with Kenny Pickett. I don't think he's a bust. And like Cone said, well, is Jimmy G a bust?
You know, a lot of being a bust or not is about
Jimmy
the hype.
G's a bust.
A lot of it's about the hype coming in, which that was one thing with Will Levis. Everyone was like, he should be the first overall pick. That's what we were talking about mostly.
Yeah.
No, this is not
at
first
all.
overall pick territory. The 4-touchdown performance and the way he played last night. And first of all, we have to understand Will Levis isn't filling in for someone, he's not filling in for Tom Brady here.
Yeah, it's Ryan.
You know what I'm saying? Like, Ryan Tannehill's had 2 touchdown passes so far this season. I realize that he's been hurt, but we've been seeing the same thing season after season here. So when I look at Will Levis, the 4-touchdown performance and the way he played last night, if he can keep up some semblance of that, that's going to be able to get this Titans team to the offseason, right? At least where he's the starting quarterback, and it does 2 things. One, because I don't think they're a playoff team this year. I really don't. One, it gives hope to the fan base, right, which is important, because you weren't having any of that. Like, it was going to turn into a fire sale if you kept playing that poorly. But then 2, you keep DeAndre Hopkins happy.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if he's catching multiple touchdowns a game like he was against the Falcons, what's worse right now than looking at what's going on in Las Vegas, where you just fired your head coach and your star player, your wide receiver, Devontae Adams, doesn't even want to be there. It's like desperately trying to find a way out.
Well, if you're the Titans, like, you feel like you've got your guy, right? It feels like you've got your guy. It's something you can build on. If you're the Titans, you can build with Ryan Tannehill.
Steelers fans would say the same thing, though. They were
With
saying
Kenny Pickett?
They were saying the same thing after with Kenny Pickett filled in last year. Like, hey, we got our guy.
Well,
Remember, he didn't start week 1.
Yeah, I know. But I don't know if they're saying that about Kenny Pickett. I didn't hear anybody say that.
I was talking to Steelers fans. They're like, hey,
Kenny Pickett,
I like this
Kenny
guy.
Pickett didn't have a phenomenal year last year.
That's my point.
So you said Jimmy G's.
Well, where was Jimmy G? Not where he was drafted, but when he came. After Tom Brady, everyone thought he's going to be the heir apparent.
See, that's what I don't remember him getting.
I don't remember him.
I just remember them being like this guy behind Tom Brady.
Ever since
that's what I remember.
To be a bust, though, it has to do with where you're drafted.
Well, just the hype around you win it.
So number one, me and Jimmy G have the same birthday. Did not know that.
Really?
Yeah, Jimmy.
Well,
G,
happy belated, Jimmy G.
Yeah, the reason I asked is Jimmy G was drafted 62nd overall by the Patriots. Will Levis was drafted 33rd overall. Jimmy Garoppolo is a 2-time Super Bowl champion, right? He won the Walter Payton Award. He's thrown 94 touchdowns to 51 interceptions. He has almost over 15,500 passing yards, 97.7 passer rating. He's completed 1,277 passes on 894 attempts. His completion percentage is almost 68%. I don't think that's horrible.
I was a state champion my freshman year. I didn't play a snap.
Yeah.
Well, Jimmy G he didn't win a Super Bowl. Tom Brady won them damn Super Bowl.
Okay, so did Nick Folk win a Super Bowl? Or Nick Foles win a Super Bowl?
Nick Folk played.
Huh? Yeah, Jimmy G played some during that year.
Nick Folk played in the playoffs.
No, but what I'm saying is
Jimmy G didn't do anything in the playoffs. Tom Brady did fine.
You're basing
it off a draft.
Hold
I'm
on.
saying where he was on the Patriots, all the hype that was around Jimmy G was out of this world. He's the next one. And then Jimmy G was what?
So you're saying
a bust.
So you're saying don't consider him a bust. Take away where he was drafted. A bust to me is about the money.
I'm not implying about where he was drafted.
About the money you're paying him to play.
Jimmy G was a bust. I'm saying Jimmy G, after coming after Tom Brady, what the Patriots thought he was, and what everybody in the NFL thought he was going to be the next one up.
And how much of that just was because Bill Belichick was getting tired of Tom Brady? And they
you think Bill's getting tired of Tom?
Clearly, they had a divorce.
It's hard to get tired of Tom.
You know what would have been a bust is if Tom Brady and them recognized Jimmy G out of Eastern Illinois and said to the world and everybody else said, hey, we're drafting this kid because he's exactly like me. He's next up, and we're going to pay him really, really well to be the backup quarterback. And then he comes out and does what he does now. I would classify him as a bust.
They've all overcome the odds.
But I'll tell you who's not a bust.
Quarterback, so.
I'll tell you who's not a bust. Our friend from Fox Sports, Tim Brando, is joining us this morning on Flamin' Dragon Friday. Timmy B, also known as Himmy B in some circles. What's up, my friend? Sorry, we got a little emotional there for a second.
Voila. Okay. How can you not like a guy that went to a directional school? Come on.
I know, right?
Nice.
Eastern Illinois.
Look, facts don't care about your feelings, Tim.
He's a Rolling Meadows, Illinois.
University, Eastern Illinois.
Georgia Southern.
I mean,
I'm all for directional schools. I wish that my old school had not settled for a hyphen. They were perfect as a directional. Northeast Louisiana versus, as Jim Valvano said, always play a state, not a portion of a state. If you lose to a portion of a state, that'll crumble a career.
That's a hilarious way to look at it. That is. Jimmy V, speaking of Jimmy V, we got college basketball coming up.
Sure do.
Tim, I got to ask you, we're gonna get into our game picks here in a little bit. There's some games on the periphery that I kind of find very, very interesting. And, one of them is this Penn State Maryland game. A little bit. I don't think enough people are talking about this. I know Maryland's been beat up. I know there's been a couple injuries. But when I look at this Penn State team and I look at this Maryland defense, not that Maryland defense is, Alcatraz or the Steel Curtain or they're going to shut everybody down, but Penn State struggles to hit any explosive plays. Drew Aller's coming off a game where it looked like they tried to hit some down the field against Indiana and the chemistry wasn't there. They're going on the road. I mean, this is a little bit sneaky now.
It is. It is. In the past, when we've had these moments, though, with Penn State and Maryland, the Nittany Lions have hammered them. I remember Spencer and I went in one year. They were 3-0 for the first time in forever. Their best receiver was on special teams, broke his leg on a return, and it went downhill. Game got a big number because it was on a Thursday night. But Penn State just owned them. That game was played at Bird Stadium. But you're right. Drew Aller is not the issue. The offense is. They need to. The scheme doesn't fit the quarterback, and I think that James Franklin, who I respect, by the way, he's lost a lot of big games with the top tier opponents. But the truth is, he has not had the offensive coordinator he's needed really since Joe Moorhead left to go to Mississippi State as a head coach. After that 2015 season. Now, he had Saquon Barkley and a lot of other factors, but still, this is a Maryland team that is dangerous because of their explosives. The potential of going the distance on a play. Penn State, hell, they're having troubles getting first downs. It's sneaky good, especially with all the other games that are out there. Just a little bit like the Big Ten's version of Georgia and Missouri this week. A lot of people are overlooking that game because of LSU and Alabama, and it's not necessarily on the radar quite as much. But you're right. I think this is a carnage weekend. I think we're going to begin November the way we ended October with a lot of surprises. I really do, and that could be one of them.
Yeah, well, the more I look at Penn State, the more I see a little bit sexier Iowa. But Timmy B, the college football playoff rankings came out, debuted. This week. And I talked about, I don't think there is a criteria. If that's the case, that there wouldn't be nearly as many contradictions. My first thing to you, and I think you and David Cohen also on the Michigan thing have been so astute and done a really good job of actually, exposing what's really going on kind of underneath the surface. And I'm going to let him get to that. But who do you think is the number one team in the country? And if we're not going to have any sort of criteria or formula, why not just release the college football playoff rankings on the last week or whenever the conference championship's done? Because there's no, I know why, because it's PR and it's money and we talk about it, but there's no point to it's a hamster wheel. Who's number one in the country in your opinion?
Michigan. It's a television show, okay, and they've got advertisers, so they need to get that Dr. Pepper money in. That's what that's what it's all about. I have been sympathetic to the plight of Reese Davis having to do that dog and pony show since it began, and attempting to make it like the NCAA Selection Sunday show, which it's not. It makes it difficult on the guys doing it. But the bottom line is it's brand names at the end. We all know that. But they're going to make it look good early. And I predicted Ohio State would be number one because it's easy to apply strength of schedule at the beginning, and they applied it with Ohio State. Chose not to apply it with Florida State, but they're in the top four. So Seminoles fans just pump the brakes. You're going to be fine. as long as you went out. But nothing really surprising in my mind came out. I will say this. I was encouraged to see Tulane be ranked where they were ahead of Air Force. And I'll tell you why. Because Tulane played an Ole Miss team that I think everyone now would have to agree is pretty good, really good out of the SEC. They can't beat Bama because Lane, for whatever reason, spits the bit every time he's on the opposite side of the coach who gave him, a second chance. And that's happened with him every time he's played against Saban. But that Ole Miss team is really good. Their defense is a lot better. I think you'd have to say that. And Tulane really went up and down the field against them with a backup quarterback. Pratt did not play in that game. And they've handled everybody in their league, including Memphis at Memphis, who's also not bad. And that schedule has been better than the one Air Force played, particularly in the non-con. Now, listen, I love Troy, and I think that, they deserve to be my fly in the ointment, but I think Tulane, as a group of 16, still deserves to be ranked higher. But that's the back end that nobody really notices except guys like us, the nerds of college football, like we all are.
For sure.
You talked about the Buckeyes getting that top ranking. They go on the road this weekend to Rutgers, which typically wouldn't be a game we would talk about that much. But Rutgers, 6-2 here with their only losses at Michigan, at Wisconsin. Greg Schiano's got figured out.
The only one. He's the only one who can do it at Rutgers.
I know. And
he's the only
this
one.
This is like the worst possible game you would want if you're a Buckeyes fan after being ranked number one. Because if you go and you have a blowout win, which is certainly possible here, everyone's going to say, yeah, you beat Rutgers. Who cares? And bring up this, the joke of a strength of schedule. But if you go and you win this on the last possession by 3 points, everyone's going to say, see, you shouldn't have been ranked number one, whereas Rutgers is kind of a sneaky good team. What do you think, Tim?
Yeah, there's a lot of that in the Big Ten. People are raining on it because it has been so bad on the Western side. And I'm going to see Nebraska try to get bowl eligible here in East Lansing against Michigan State, a team that, has been in trouble ever since I left. And apparently since Mr. Stallion left the sidelines, allegedly, that was our game too. How about that? Spencer and I do all these games that wind up in a court of law at some point.
Yeah. They're like,
you see, here's the video evidence.
Yeah, you're going to be subpoenaed. You're going to be subpoenaed halfway through the year.
Yeah. Lawyers may be in touch for a deposition anytime soon.
That's exactly right.
But yeah, Rutgers is better than anybody would ever possibly think. And you could kind of forget about them, just like people forgot about Nebraska after they started out 0-3. And now Matt Rule is doing what he always does. Greg Schiano is perfect for that job in Piscataway. I mean, he is. And he really should send a thank you card to Clay Travis for putting together those letters in Tennessee to keep him from getting the job in Knoxville.
Yeah,
because he's probably better off coaching in New Jersey. It looks like a job that's absolutely perfect for him. That's a scary game for Ohio State. The Buckeyes Harrison is carrying them. And they have a substandard they have the same problem really Alabama has at the mission critical position. They don't have the same kind of quarterback that, can have your back when everything else is failing. To this point, the gift should be noted. Send all your thank you notes to Notre Dame and Coach Freeman for having that meltdown at the end of the game. Otherwise, Ohio State wouldn't be where they are, which is number one.
Well, Tim, you and I talked a little bit about how there's a full court media press right now going on to get this, rookie Big Ten commissioner Tony Petitti to rule in some way or another against Michigan and sort of punish them here before we've even gotten any of the evidence or notice of allegations or wrongdoing from the NCAA. How do you think this will play out, and how should it play out?
It's going to play out the way it always plays out, David, in situations like this, as it did. And I made the comparison, as you know, on social media to the circumstances surrounding Cam Newton, which, Jake, you can certainly identify with. You're not so young that you don't remember 2010. I know you do.
I think about it every morning when I wake up.
And I even said in the prepared tweet, albeit a long one, it was going to take more than 144 characters to get it out. But when you're trying to supply context, some meat to your take, it's going to take a little bit longer. The reality is, Mike Slive, the commissioner at that time of the SEC, and a former judge who used to hear cases for the NCAA, including Bruce Pearls, after he was let go at Tennessee for the barbecue, you might recall.
Hallelujah.
People thought Mike was going to come down on Auburn because he was an NCAA prototype, and he was going to do what, quote unquote, any judge would do. No, he didn't do that because he served at the pleasure of the presidents of the universities. And as a member institution, he was going to do his best to protect Auburn's opportunity, which was right in front of them. Mm-hmm. And you didn't hear boo from Gene Chizik that entire last month of the season. Everybody kept their mouths shut. He worked out a 24-hour stipulation with the NCAA legally for eligibility before the Georgia game that Auburn played. And then no one said anything after the Iron Bowl when they came from, a 23-0 score, I think at one point, to win 24-23. Yeah. And they win a national championship. And this is a similar situation here for Tony Petitti, albeit with a competitive advantage at work with alleged spying. Until the notice of allegations is sent to Michigan, and right now it hasn't been, then nothing's going to happen. They have 90 days to respond legally as a university, as an institution. And to say that the Big Ten commissioner is just going to jump right in because it's within his jurisdiction, that part is true. But the ADs and coaches getting on a telephone with a group of scribes saying how upset they are is not going to boggle the mind of the commissioner of the Big Ten, because he serves at the pleasure of the presidents of the universities. And that's the way it is right now. And as long as college football allows the antiquated NCAA to play this role of, a police that has been stripped down to the bare minimum, like we have with a lot of DAs across this country, they can't get anything done. And when they do get something done, the district attorneys let the guys free. Well, it's a similar story here in sports. Mm-hmm. As long as the NCAA, a kangaroo court, who really should hire the very writers they're leaking these stories to, because they do a better job than they do in enforcement, nothing's going to get done. Mm-hmm. And that's just the bottom line. They can crow all they want at other schools in the Big Ten, but that's the way this is going to be. I sincerely hope that this sends a message, though, to not just to Commissioner Petitti, but to all the other commissioners in college football, that the NCAA is not their friend. Okay, they are the last people that should be in charge of stories like this. They need to self-govern, and they need to take control of college football so we can stay away from this kind of mess in the month of November and deal with the realities of what's being done on the field. Let's talk about the blanking game, shall we? Not about this kind of stuff, and let fandom rule and take over and waste your time and mine having to talk about it when we got a weekend like this one. But that's just what we have traditionally seen that done where college football is concerned.
Yeah.
Amen.
Without a doubt.
100%. Something I want to talk about that, and this hurts my heart to even talk about it. Arkansas Razorbacks, you're going to Florida this week. I mean, you're 2-6 and you're 0-5 in conference.
All 6 in a row, I think.
If they lose this one, I mean, wins enough is enough if you're an Arkansas fan. And how long does Sam last?
I like him, and I think he'll be a good coach, possibly as a head coach someplace else. But it's already hard to recruit to Arkansas. It always has been. I said this when they got into the SEC. I thought from a territorial standpoint, they would have been better off being in the Big 12 rather than the Southeastern Conference. A lot of their fans, I think, that are close to my age or maybe a few years younger feel similarly, but they couldn't turn down the revenue. South Carolina is by far and away geographically in a much better situation than Arkansas was when they were brought in 92. And let's not forget, fellas, they wouldn't have gotten in the league likely if Bobby Bowden had said yes to the SEC's offer to come in. But Bobby was smart enough to stay put because he knew he could win more national championships.
For sure.
Having to play Florida at the end of the year by staying in the ACC. They're going to have to make a change. And it's unfortunate because he's a good man and a good coach. And I think he fits really well in Fayetteville. But, it's about winning. And they got to find somebody to shake it up and be able to bring in the kind of skilled people to match guys like Jefferson, who really is a great quarterback. It's a shame he's not had enough around him, to help him be the kind of quarterback that he really could be. He's got a lot of talent. He almost single-handedly won that Alabama.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
If you watch the second half, you know what I'm talking about.
For sure. I mean, Cage seems like he's been there forever. Be interested to see if he gets in the transfer portal. But if Sam Pittman does get fired as a head football coach, they should make him like the mayor of Fayetteville or something.
Everyone loves it.
Like they'd be like perfect for that. But speaking about somebody that always shakes it up and in a good way, our buddy Tim Brando. Timmy B, tell everybody where you're at this weekend.
Nebraska, Michigan State. I'll tell you, the good part about this is we've got storylines. As I said, Matt Rule kind of doing it the way he did it at Baylor, right? Let's dumb down the offense, go I formation, ask our quarterback to throw it a dozen times, play fast, which is okay with me, so I can make a 6 o'clock flight out of Detroit and get home on Saturday night and have a chance to watch LSU upset Alabama, which I believe will happen.
Oh, wow. All right, Timmy B. Let's you want to get to these
Can we
picks,
pick
David?
these games?
That's a great segue.
All right, let's do it. Here we got, just like you talked about earlier, Missouri 7-1 goes to Georgia 8-0. Who you got winning this one, Jay?
And I've got Georgia. Look, I think Missouri's going to be able to score some. Luther Burden's going to make a couple plays. I just don't think they'll get the run game going. Brady Cook's going to have to throw them to win it. I think Georgia, just with gravity and going up against a Missouri pass defense that I just do not trust at all. I think Georgia's continuing to get better. They've showed you they're a mature team. They're winning while developing, which is about the scariest thing that could possibly be happening to everybody out in the rest of college football. Give me Georgia. It's a lot of points, but I think Georgia may cover this 15.
Yeah, Georgia's my national champion, and that's not changing right now. Let's give a lot of credit to Eli drinking the boys. I mean, you're walking in 7-1
Yeah.
on the road. You're having a great year. But, I mean, sooner or later, you got to fight the boss, and that's this weekend, and I'm taking the boss.
Tim?
I like Missouri to cover for sure.
Yeah.
I think they can do what LSU can do, and that is score, which will force Georgia to have to score more than they're comfortable scoring, particularly without Brock Bowers. Georgia has improved. I think Beck, as a quarterback, especially has in the last couple of weeks. They were sort of coaching around him back when they played Auburn. That I can't get that game out of my mind, fellas.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't. And without Bowers, I think that's going to be the question here. Who are the playmakers if you get into a scoring fest, which I think Drinkwood's team can potentially do that to them. So I give Missouri a slight chance of doing to Georgia what LSU, I believe, will do to Alabama.
All right, we're going to put you down for Missouri on that one then. I don't know how you
I got them covering for sure.
Yeah.
Right, I don't just after what I saw Georgia do to Florida in a rivalry game without Brock Bowers, I'm going to take the Bulldogs as well. I don't know how you can't roll with them at this point. But Washington 8-0 goes to USC 7-2. Things have fallen off the rails a little bit. Who are you taking in this one?
Yeah, I'm taking the over. No,
Yeah.
I'm gonna take Washington. I think they cover as well. Listen, USC, they are who we thought they were. I think Caleb Williams is going to show up because he knows it's a big game. Hadn't played great over the past couple weeks. I don't trust Washington's defense to be able to not shut USC down, but stop them enough to where this game is comfortable for them halfway through the third quarter. I do think they score a kind of solidifying touchdown to go up double digits late. Caleb Williams will score, but Washington will get a first down, need the clock out. Give me Washington.
Lincoln Riley, same record as Clay Helton through 22 games. How about that?
You're just all about the Kevin Sumlin.
Surprise. I mean, look, USC is not a good football team, in my opinion. They're not. They got some weapons on offense. You have Caleb Williams, but I'm not going to pick a guy who paints his nails and wants 20% of the Bears. Give me Washington, BDE, BPE, Big Penix energy. I think they win. I'm planning up to double digits.
Tim, we talked all offseason. What kind of USC are we going to get, especially on the defensive side of the ball? Now they're going to host an undefeated Washington team. Who are you taking?
Well, I had Washington last week, and you saw what happened with Stanford, almost taking them down in what it was an incredible performance by Ashton Daniels, their quarterback, against Penix, who wasn't completely well. They had a little bit of a flu bug that went through their program after the game. I guess they got a little bit sick looking at the tape of the game that they had played the week prior against Arizona State.
It'll do that to you.
They've got the best trio of receivers on one team, I think, in the country. And so Penix is going to make enough plays to win even when they have a bad game. To the defensive point, which I think you're right, they yield a lot of yards. But in the scoring zone, I think they're in the top 10 in scoring defense. So they've done a great job inside the red zone. USC will struggle if they get the ball inside the 15 a lot. But USC will score with explosives, as you know. Caleb just makes wild plays. finding those receivers, whether it's Zachariah Branch or Singer or whoever. So USC will get the number up, take the over, and I would tell you Washington will find a way to cover because USC's defense is deplorable.
Well, Washington has not looked the same since they beat Oregon, but the last 4 in the stretch here, USC, Utah, Oregon State, and Washington State for the Huskies. I mean, incredible. They got to figure it out now. I'm going to ride with Washington. That was my college football playoff team. I'm going to stick with them. All right, we got Kansas State goes to Texas, Timmy B. Kansas State's won their last 3 since losing at Oklahoma State. Malik Murphy came in for Texas. That was the game that you had there we were talking about before you called that game against Houston. All right, Jake, Texas hosting Kansas State. Who you got?
You know, I always like to go with my gut on these in these situations.
Do it.
And Kansas State right now, I mean, they're playing out of their minds. Past couple weeks, Will Howard looks healthy. I love the way that Kleiman, the identity of that team. I think it travels. But I picked Texas to make the college football playoff. Still got a chance. You know, you got that one loss to Oklahoma. Malik Murphy looked a little bit better in the pocket than what I thought he would last week. I think this game is back and forth. I think this game is actually going to be more high scoring than what people think. But I think Texas finds a way in overtime, David. They survived this one in overtime.
Wow.
Giving Texas.
Wow.
Dragon?
Oh, this game's an interesting game, but the more I look at it, the more I dislike Texas. Kansas State's playing good football right now. They're playing the best football they've played all year. I agree with that. But I still think, Jonathan Brooks, I think up front is where Texas is going to win this game. I don't think Kansas State is athletic on defense as they've been in the past years. Howard's a great piece of quarterback. I know that. But I think the experience of Texas and the athleticism of Texas is going to be the difference. So give me Texas. Give me Texas to cover.
Tim?
You know, I'd really love to see Texas keep this up. Potentially, Spencer and I might have the TCU game next week in Fort Worth. But I got to tell you, when I talk of carnage in November, I think the first example of it is going to happen in the Big 12 this week. Kansas State is morphing into what Kleiman teams always are.
Yeah.
And they were disappointing early. They were. That Missouri loss, I think, set them back. It also propelled Missouri to where they are in a breakthrough season for Drink. But Kansas State now is a very dangerous team, as is Oklahoma State. Think about the reclamation project that K-State has done since the game with that they lost to Missouri, and also what Gundy has done since the loss to South Alabama, of all people. I mean, it's incredible. And I think that we could see 2 big-time teams nuked this week in the Big 12. K-State over Texas and Oklahoma State in a world of when you look at that story with the Cowboys and what they're doing, I mean, that could be – those 2 games are just, to me, where the cannibalization of the top of some of these conferences takes place.
Well, Kansas State is the defending champs in the conference, and that was my conference championship matchup this year, K-State and Texas. The way Texas has been going, I agree with you guys over here. I'm going to take Texas in this one. You mentioned it. Let's go to Bedlam. What else needs to be said? Could be the last edition of Oklahoma and Oklahoma State we see. Who you taking?
I'll tell you what.
I see that look in your eye.
You know, right when if he pauses,
I see that look in your eye.
If he pauses a second before, he's going with the dog.
No. Look, I'm from a place in a state where we're not the main school.
What?
From Auburn.
We're not?
Right? Alabama is the state school. All right. Deep down in my heart, you know how I feel.
Yeah. Bunch of cheetahs.
But the one thing that Alabama's not doing, they're not leaving to go to greener pastures. They're not leaving the woman they've been with for 9 years to go hang out with Selena Gomez on a yacht with Klay Thompson. All right, like Oklahoma's doing to Oklahoma State. There's something personal about it.
Yeah.
There's always, what did Rick Moranis say on Little Giants? There's always that one time, right? You don't have to beat them every time, but there's that one time. This is that one time. They're leaving. They think they're better than you. They think they're better than you because they're Oklahoma and you're Oklahoma State. You're in Stillwater, they're in Norman. They're the ones with all the tradition. They're the ones that everybody thinks about when you go to the Midwest. Oh, you see that OU Boomer Sooner. You don't think a lot. Maybe T. Boone Pickens. Maybe, hey, y'all are a little rich. Maybe y'all got a little walking around money, but you're still little brother. But you know what? It's personal this week, to quote a certain coach. It's personal because this may be the last shot you got at him, and it's at home. You always remember that one time you beat Dad in the driveway, that first time. All right, I'll Rick Moranis this whole thing. All right, it's a better matchup than the Little Giants had against the Cowboys. I'm not worried about Spike running around out there. But give me Oklahoma State to send them on their way out. 2 losses for Oklahoma. Let's go.
Wow.
Poke 'em.
Wow.
That's right.
Okay.
Poke 'em.
Oklahoma does think they're better than Oklahoma. You know why?
Because they are.
Because they are better than Oklahoma State. All right? You think this Oklahoma team, after that dog water performance last week against Kansas, is going to come out here and a lot of people say crap the bed in this game?
Like they did after the UCF performance?
Dylan Gabriel, the Hawaiian Warrior, coming out, hey, hi, Jeff Levy, he's pissed about a lot of things. Apparently 33 is not enough. All right? So now he's going to drop a 50-piece. And look, Bauman, you got to prove it to me. You got to prove it to me. You can't, look, we're going to stack the box. You can say hi and hand it to Ollie, whatever his name is.
Ollie Gordon?
Gordon the 7th.
Get his name right.
As many times as you want. But Oklahoma's a playoff football team, boys. They're a playoff football team, and they're going to show it Saturday. Boomer Sooner, baby.
Tim, you going with the Cowboys here?
I've had the good fortune of calling this game a few times. Baker Mayfield's last game, the last Big 12 championship one on Sooner soil when they beat Oklahoma State. And Gundy had a really good team that year, really good team. He has coached tight through the years in that game. I think you'd have to say among active coaches, Mike Gundy has probably been as successful with a program that's not, quote unquote, considered elite over the last 20 years, 2 decades, than just about any coach. But his record is awful against OU. Something about being little brother all those years. I mean, even as a player coming out, he wasn't Troy Aikman, who was the gifted quarterback who came out. He was part of that high school class going into college football. And I covered him with Barry Sanders and Garrett Limerick and Hartley Dykes as a player when he was with Pat Jones. Oklahoma State, though, this time really has some legitimate pay to deliver to Big Brother here. Mm-hmm. And I think the Cowboys with Ollie Oxenfree, they are going to run really well against this Oklahoma defense. And the Sooners skilled people, fellas, they got exposed. Kansas had better receivers than Oklahoma. Dylan Gabriel didn't get the same kind of help that Bean got. And Bean struggled through some picks. I mean, he was struggling. And you guys know I picked Kansas to beat OU, and they did. Oklahoma State's going to win this game. And the Big 12, at least for this year, will be blown up. Wow. They'll be out of the college football playoffs.
Ollie gets north.
Ollie Oxenfree.
I can't wait for this one. I hope we're in for a good ball game. Dylan Gabriel, quarterback draw, touchdown, and in the second overtime to win it for Oklahoma. That's what I'm going with. Last one, Alabama is going to host LSU. Once again, this edition could decide the SEC West. Who are you going to take?
It's a weird edition because it feels like it's going to be a lot of points. LSU defensively, it's been one of the biggest question marks all year. Everybody keeps talking about the strength for strength, which I get it. LSU's offense versus Alabama's defense. I think this game is going to come down to the weakness versus the weakness. Can Alabama's offense put 4 quarters together against a defense that's beat up and has been struggling? How much confidence do they really have? But we know the personnel's there. They just got to play like it. And then you look at LSU defensively. Can you hold Alabama to field goals in the red zone? I think both teams are going to be able to move the ball in between the 20s. We talked about Washington's red zone defense. I think that's what it's going to come down to. It's LSU's a very popular pick this week. I do think they have the best offense in the country. I think Jaden Daniels is playing the best out of any quarterback in the country right now. I think their biggest strength is their versatility. But this Alabama team's found a way to hit explosive plays in crucial moments. I don't trust LSU's defense. The reason I don't trust them isn't just because they give up explosive plays, that I think Alabama's going to be able to run the ball and limit the amount of possessions that LSU gets in the second half, which means LSU is going to have to be perfect. And being perfect against this talent that Alabama has on defense is very, very hard. If anybody can do it, it's this offense and Jaden Daniels and what Mike Denbrock's doing and what they have on the outside and what they have up front. But I think Alabama finds a way, like they have all year outside of the Texas game, to sneak out of this one, to just sneak out of it. Give me Bama.
It's a good pick, man. You got to look at this Alabama team right now. Milroe's playing some of his best football. He's came along in a couple of weeks. Had Alabama going 11-1 and making it in the playoffs. I mean, McClendon's coming on. You're getting healthy. Big game Burton. I mean, this game's at home. And I think you're right, Jake. I think LSU has to play perfect to win this game, especially not perfect on the defensive side, but they need to create turnovers. But if there's one man that you send out to protect the city, at the end of the day. And I think playing the best football in college football right now at the quarterback position. That's Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
All right. We've seen what this kid does on a daily basis on a Saturday against the Alabama defense that's really good, but do make mistakes, still penalized football team. I think this LSU football team comes in and makes a statement Saturday. I think Jaden Daniels throws for 300+ and 60+ on the ground. I think Malik Neighbors is one of the best receivers in the nation. And I think LSU, let's go, Jay LeBlanc, LSU pulls off the win Saturday in Bryant-Denny. Ride it down, baby.
Tim, you riding with him?
Yeah, I like LSU in this game, and I like them largely because I know it's a money game for Neighbors and for Daniels. Okay, regardless of, people are talking about can they be a viable 2-loss team if they represent the West again and get a shot at Georgia. I don't care about any of that. What I care about is what I believe in the hearts of these players matters, and that extra week definitely gives that defense. We hear so much about how banged up the secondary is, and they weren't good before they got injured. Okay, so you're right, Jake. They are going to struggle. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But Milroe is going to have to make plays in the passing game. I do think that LSU's defense is now going to free up Perkins to make plays. If their defensive front can get any push whatsoever and really follow a blueprint shown by Texas, Alabama's not been asked to score points to win because the coaches that have gone against them that had the capability and the arsenal to beat them, Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss, Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M, Josh Heupel at Tennessee, coached scared in the second half. They spit the bit against the GOAT. Brian Kelly is every bit as arrogant as Saban. And I think he's going to push the pedal to the metal. He's going to allow Denbrock to do what he needs to do. And there's no pressure here on LSU. They're not expected this year with this team and with that awful defense. It's a historically bad LSU defense. So just wing it. Go out there and play. And I think that pressure will make a pipe bust. And when you hear the Alabama faithful, roll tide, we're going to beat LSU. We own them. It's payback. Nobody beats Saban twice. Wait a minute. Hang on. Les Miles did in 2010 and 11. You think Les Miles has the pedigree of Brian Kelly? I think Brian is every bit as arrogant as the GOAT. I think they go in there, they get the job done. Daniels makes plays, solidifies himself as a guy that's going to go first among all quarterbacks in the draft. Neighbors will go first among all receivers in the draft. And LSU beats Alabama. And all those folks calling Paul will be so upset.
My gut tells me Jaden Daniels will ball. My gut tells me he can go in there and put up points, but my 3 decades of experience with football tells me to take the combination of the better defense, the home field advantage, and Nick Saban. I'm going to ride with Alabama, 33-30.
Hey, I like that. Good. That means the overhits. Timmy B, I know we kept you overtime. You're so gracious with your time with us, my friend. Thanks so much. And y'all go keep doing what you're doing. I love watching. I watch every Saturday. Nebraska, Michigan State ought to be an interesting one.
And next week we'll probably be back in the Big 12 after it's been nuked. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I hope I'm wrong because I'd love to see Sark and Texas get it done. I made them. I think that I think Kansas State's dangerous though. I just do.
Yeah.
I hope I get to see you guys in the near future though.
Of course, Timmy B. Can't wait.
Hey,
appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much.
You bet.
The legend, the Hall of Famer.
That was awesome.
Tim Brando. All right, we got to get to logs, leans, and dogs here in a minute, but do you want to try and roll 2 calls?
Hey, I talked to people back there in the control room. We go a little long today.
Okay.
All
right. Let's get to some calls here. Let's get to Hunter in Arkansas. Hunter, what's up?
Not expecting to go first. I was on hold for a minute.
Hey, look, it's your time. Time to shine.
So yesterday was the Travis Kelce of the Crane Boys Day yesterday. But today is the Jason Kelce of the Crane Boys. It's Blaine Crane Day.
Yes, it is.
Well, I'm the older brother.
Travis.
I'm the older brother.
Travis, to be honest, because he's a little brother and plays a skill position. Jake played O-line in high school, so I don't know.
And I don't date reptilians.
You don't?
Not anymore.
Okay. But it's also Little Brother Week because Oklahoma State is beating OU, and I'm a little disappointed in Oklahoma fans this week.
Oh.
Really?
Beginning of the season, Voltar and the 47 other Gator people were always talking smack. This week, during rivalry week, the real rivalry. Sorry for the third place in the SEC East rivalry. Only me and Chase said something, or I think
awfully
Chad
quiet. Yeah.
Yeah, Chad called in.
But
Chad, I got to give Chad credit. I got to give his flowers.
Chad did a little bit of trash talk. I was happy for Chad that he had something. He wasn't looking at a Baker Mayfield picture, being all sad or something. But Chase Mills, the only Mills you chase are Lincoln Riley's Mills out in California. Have a day at that. But Mike Gundy and the boys are going to finish OU off in the Big 12. We're going to cannibalize the Big 12 of the playoffs, and Oklahoma State is going to win, and it's going to win by at least a touchdown.
Give me a score. Give me a score, Hunter.
Earlier in the week, I said 31-24.
Yep.
But now I look at it, I think it's going to be 35-24.
All right, 35.
Damn,
11-point win.
Spank them out.
Stop it.
Send them out. All
Stop
right, Hunter,
it.
look, we got you locked in for it.
Call in next week, Hunter.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, man. Let's go to Mike in Colorado. Mike, talk to us.
Hey, good morning, boys.
My
So I need your help. I need your
that
help.
Skyhook?
I believed all the hype before the season, and I bet my buddy from Alabama, and he reverse bet me back. My bet to him was that Alabama wasn't going to win 10 games, and his bet was that Colorado wouldn't win 6. I need you boys to motivate me through that. What are my odds now?
Alabama's going to win 10 games. I can tell you that right now.
Look, they beat LSU. They will. They beat LSU. They will for sure. But Colorado right now is 4-4, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get to go to the
They're
game.
4-4. This is what Colorado's got left. You got Oregon State at home.
Loss.
You have Arizona at home. You go to Washington State, then you go to Utah. See, so he said 6 games?
Yeah, so they'd have to win.
I don't see
2 of
6 in
those.
there.
They have to split those.
I don't see 6.
This is where letting Stanford come back and beat you murders you. This is where it gets you. This is where it's not but then you think, hey, Colorado State, you kind of pulled that one out of your backside at the end too, so does it even out
Arizona
at some point?
State.
And Arizona State. I would feel a whole hell of a lot better about Alabama winning 10 and Colorado winning 6. I know that's obvious.
Bama's got LSU, then you go to Kentucky, then you have Chattanooga at home, then you go
And that
to Auburn.
Kentucky game.
For
That's
Alabama?
a weird spot. That's a weird spot. We'll see what happens this weekend. But Mike, look, so you bet him that Bama wouldn't win 10, and he bet you Colorado wouldn't win 6?
Correct.
How close do you live to a church?
I'm looking to split at this point. Real close.
Hey, a push is a win.
Regularly.
Yeah, good,
Push is
good.
a
I
win.
just
Yeah,
walk
that's what I'm
by
looking
and
for.
just
Yeah.
look at it around the same time each day and have the same thought. I mean, it couldn't hurt, right?
That's what I'm hoping. I don't know if Auburn can help me out if LSU wins this weekend.
Look, I can go and tell you right now, do
Things
never
get
put
weird
stake
in
in Auburn
Auburn.
helping you out when it's needed. All right,
Yeah.
don't ever do that. We walk into it thinking
You want
the
personal
opposite,
experience?
right? Yeah.
Yeah. You want to speak from personal experience? There you go, Mike. But hey, we're rooting for you, buddy.
Hey, appreciate it, Mike. Keep us
Mikey.
posted on that bet, all right? Hey, let's roll through these. Let's go rapid fire. Smoking Gator in Tampa. How you doing, man?
David, what's up, buddy?
Good morning, gentlemen, and happy Flaming Dragon Friday.
Yes, sir. That's a
Still
good
the
reminder.
under still hitting.
Good reminder.
Reminder.
Yeah.
God, David,
What you got, Dave?
All right, so since this is rapid fire, I can make this really quick. So I feel like right now, if awards were handed out right now, that Michael Penix would win the Heisman over
Agreed.
J.D. Daniels,
Agreed.
mainly because his team is undefeated. But
Agreed.
I do think that Daniels would win the O'Brien Award because he does have better overall numbers than Penix. So,
David, I
what do
think
you
you're
guys
spot on. I think
love
that's
that.
100% correct. But the only mistake you had is that now the O'Brien Award is the Heisman.
I think you're right, and
they
that
just give it to the
sucks.
best quarterback.
And here's what's the craziest part. It's November 3rd right now. We're entering the championship weeks of college football season. They can neither one be in the top 2 of the Heisman race at the end of the
Look what happened to Caleb Williams.
Now's what mattered. Now, after Halloween is when the Heisman conversation really
That's
heats up.
exactly right, David. That's a fantastic point, though. But you always bring up, hey, are you making the Booster Club tailgate or not?
No, man. I can't make it because of my financial situation isn't great right now. So probably smart that I don't go, but hopefully I make it next year.
Hey, hopefully, can't wait to meet you, bro.
See you, buddy. Call in next week,
man.
please,
Same.
man. All right, let's go to William in Alabama. Rapid fire, brother. How you doing?
William, what's up?
What's up, guys?
How's it going?
Good. First time calling, not going to lie. Fangirling
Appreciate it.
just a little bit.
I'm fangirling you call, dog.
Hey, yeah, I'm kind of fangirling about you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. But I was the youth pastor that was blowing up the chat a few weeks back.
Nice.
And I just wanted to say thank you guys for really sincerely answering my question. And this season went absolutely fantastic.
Good.
Awesome, man.
That's
That's fantastic. That's great to hear. We appreciate you.
Now, second part of my call, Cone's not the only older man living in a younger man's body.
Yeah.
There you go.
Valley
Yes.
Sports South, get off my lawn.
Oh, God.
Brother, let me get some popcorn for this one.
Calm down,
Go ahead.
Cone. Calm down, Cone.
Nothing gets Cone more excited than Connor Stallion's hype or hating on Valley Sports.
Exactly. William, tell me about it.
I got into hockey just a couple of years ago, and I found out that I loved it. Went to a Preds game, absolutely fell in love. All I want to do is watch them play hockey. Is that really too much to ask?
You can't do it.
I mean, really?
They won't let you.
No. Since YouTube TV doesn't carry any Valley Sports, I can't watch it. But then Valley Sports Plus comes along and promises me, hey, you can watch the Predators.
Yeah.
It's like, really? They're like, yeah, you can watch the Carolina Hurricanes. I'm like, that's cool. And like, you can watch a WNBA team. I'm like, well, whatever.
Yeah. What's that?
What's it going to cost? $20 a month? Are you kidding me? I pay less than that for the Daily Wire and BitKey, and I watch them multiple times a day. So
Yeah.
you want me to pay $20 a month to watch something a couple times a week? Whew.
God, talk your ish.
It's disgusting. I've been trying to watch the Philadelphia Flyers for weeks.
Can't do it. Can't
Yeah.
do it. Our audio engineer, Rhino, man, he's a huge hockey fan. We have this conversation every morning during hockey season.
William, we appreciate you, buddy. That's a great call. Tell him again. I want to hear it.
Yeah. If you smell something, Valley Sports, that's the Phillies on the Blackstone for me and the boys. But you can get off my lawn.
There you go. Great call.
Well done, William.
Call back.
Thank you, brother.
Great
Call
stuff.
again soon. Let's keep it rolling. Nighthawk in Ohio. What's the word?
What's up, y'all? How you doing?
What up?
Good. All right, I'll make a quick rapid fire. I mean, I'll probably call next week, talk more about it, but I'm just going to throw out a stat really quick. Since the beginning of last year, Kenny Pickett has 7 game-winning drives in overtime or the fourth quarter, and that's second behind Kirk Cousins. That just tells you right there how split he is. I mean, he's sharing that stat with another split quarterback. I'm a Steelers fan, so you're hearing that from me. But I think that he has a split personality when it comes to his gameplay, and it's tough because sometimes you see potential, sometimes you see bust.
What? You know what that sounds like, Nighthawk? Sounds like a young quarterback figuring it out in the NFL.
And I
That's
pulled
what it
these
sounds
stats
like
up when Flaming Dragon was talking about this earlier, so I'm glad you revisited it. I pulled his stats up. These are career, so last year and so far this year, 62.4% completion percentage. He has 3,800 yards, 13 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. None of us would say that that's good enough to be the heir apparent to Ben Roethlisberger with the Steelers, right? But Nighthawk's talking about the fourth quarter comebacks, and Jake made the best point. We're talking about a guy who just a decade and a half ago wouldn't have even been the starting quarterback in year two. These guys are thrown into the fire at such a young age now. It's incredible.
Well, I wish he'd have played better in the first 3 quarters.
Nighthawk, appreciate it, buddy. We'll see with Kenny Pickett.
Then he wouldn't have to come back, would he?
Then it wouldn't be an argument.
I love it. All right. Thanks, Nighthawk. Caveman 2.0. Is the world on the street? Caveman sent a dono?
$100. $100
dono? Yeah,
absolutely. To let the man cook.
Caveman apparently got out.
Good morning.
What's up, brother? Dude, thank you.
So, David, I know you got some of my picks the other day. For them to actually work, I can't say what they are on air, so just let it ride.
Okay. God, I love this call already.
Here's the thing, fellas. I am going to say one prediction on air, and I hope it does come to pass. I really do. I think Jaden Daniels is going to have a Heisman moment this Saturday.
Would not be surprised
what you're cooking.
In the least.
I'm smelling what
we
you're
thought
cooking.
Hansel was hot at the Male Model Awards. Jaden Daniels a hot little potato right now.
Is it going to be with his arm, with his legs, or is he just going to just go off with both?
Oh, he's going to ball out of control. It's going to be absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, we fly high.
All right.
So high.
Okay, man.
Ballin'!
We'll see.
What? You can watch us react to that because we're going to be live streaming.
Okay, man, you gave us $100. Please continue.
Yes, please. Say whatever you want.
So, Dabo, when he was having that call with that military man, that kid, whatever his age was, if you're in the military, you're a man. I don't care. Here's the thing.
40.
That was all bruised ego.
Yeah.
Dabo's reaction and the way he flew off the handle was completely just a bruised ego.
For
he
sure.
couldn't take the heat. And honestly, I think knowing that he isn't changing with the times, deep down, he knows he has to change with the times. Because guess what? Stagnation, that's just going to lead to him, well, losing his job. That's just the harsh reality of coaching nowadays.
Well, yeah, it just reminded me of the scene on Eastbound and Down when Kenny Powers is the PE teacher. And he's like, does anybody have any questions for me? And the one kid raises his hand. He's like, my dad said you ruined baseball. And he's like, hey, I just want to let you know that I'm not going to like you regardless of how many pull-ups or push-ups you do. So if anybody's looking to pick on anybody, that's the guy.
Because I ain't looking.
That's what it felt like to me. He got his feelings hurt.
Oh, yeah, he did. But, that's nothing new with Dabo, so whatever. Guys, I just want to praise y'all a little bit. Y'all are blowing up. I'm having a hard time calling in nowadays, and that's a good thing. Y'all keep up the hard work, and keep doing what you're doing.
Hey, man, thank you so much, bro.
Appreciate it, man.
If you pay enough, we'll get you in here.
Yeah, look, another $100 dono. You may be sitting on that crate before the show's over with. But no, buddy, thank you so much. That means the world, man. We're really trying.
Thanks, man. All right, this is a Forrest Gump situation. We came this far, might as well keep running because we got one more, and it's Matthew in Arkansas. Matthew, what's up?
What's up, boys? Heartbroken Hog here. I know it's rapid fire. I got two things to bounce off you guys. Number one, we beat number 3 Purdue in an exhibition game last weekend. The Must Bus is ready to roll all the way.
Look, we don't doubt the Must Bus. I'm going to tell you Arkansas basketball season. You ready for it? You want me to tell you? Early.
Yes, sir.
Looks good. Then guess what? It's going to be a little bit bumpy. It's going to be choppy for a long time. Mm-hmm. And then toward the end of the conference play, Arkansas is going to start to come on. They're going to start to figure it out. They're going to start to shorten better. Then the NCAA tournaments come, and Eric Musk's going to be like, hey! Paul! How dare you, sir? That's how the season's going to go for Arkansas.
Save that for replacement coach.
We're big Must Bus people.
It's amazing how many Arkansas fans are ready for basketball season.
Well, somebody said the other day, listen, I've been dead for a month and a half now. I need to feel something.
That might have been Matthew.
It killed Paul. Actually, might have been Matthew.
All right, but football season ain't over, and word on the street is Rocket Sanders could be in for this game against Florida. He is from the state of Florida. If he plays, I am predicting a huge game, talking 200 yards from scrimmage, 2 touchdowns, 31-27 Hogs. Let's go.
I love it. Why is that line going down?
Whoopie.
It was that feels 4.5
game.
this
like
morning.
Sooner or later, Arkansas's got to figure one out.
Well, they did against Bama. Like there's you see flashes where you're like, God, this makes me not want to pick Arkansas.
Like a game Billy Napier's going to lose.
I don't.
Doesn't it feel like
Florida,
this is his vantage?
Florida at home, coming off the Georgia loss.
Paul, don't say
Graham Mertz.
No, I
Ricky
don't.
Pearsall.
Stay away from the nuclear side.
Eugene Wilson III.
I mean, that's fine, but I mean, look, they got a rocket.
That is true.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see, Matthew. It's going to be awfully interesting, my friend.
Thanks, brother.
All right. Love y'all. Have a great weekend.
Love you, bud. Have a great weekend.
Against all odds, we got all those callers in.
I can't believe that. Hey, by the way, that's my fault for not getting the calls a little bit earlier. We just get excited when Tim Brando comes.
It's not your fault. We had to do that, and we got it in, and we are doing a good job.
And we're going to get to calls earlier next week because I know people hang on that line for a long time, and we really, really appreciate it. But let's get to locks, leans, and dogs. It's our favorite part of the week. All right.
You're locking in the over, aren't you?
It's locked.
Here's
what I got. Look, we've been hot on these. How many dogs did we hit last week? What did we go, 4-2 in dogs or 5-1 in dogs? I hit both mine. You hit both yours. You've hit your last 4.
Okay, guys. I see how it is.
I was about to ask you because I don't remember.
Yeah, 40 units the last 3 months. But hey,
that is insane. That's insane.
Who cares, right?
But did you hit your dogs last week?
Yeah, Paul knows. Here's what I got. Washington USC over 76.5. Why? Because I'm not insane. That's why. because USC's defense couldn't stop a nosebleed in the nurse's office. And I think they're going to be able to score a decent amount of points against Washington. Give me that over 76.5 at -110. Then Minnesota. Why is this going down? I don't like it. I locked it at -2 earlier in the week. It's down to -1.5. I just feel like both these offenses, they're not, cute. But Illinois is just ugly on offense. Outside of Altmaier, I think he's got a nice future. And I think Minnesota can move the ball a little bit on this Illinois defense after they lost everybody to the NFL and their defensive coordinator to Purdue. Leans, Michigan, -32.5. I love Blaine's theory here, right? You accuse me of cheating, so what do? I beat the person to death the next time we play. I think Michigan's going to send a message because if it is close, then it looks like you really were cheating. So give me Michigan -32.5, -110. Then Bama, LSU over 61.5. Because I think it's going to be high scoring, and I'd much rather root on points in this game when I'm watching Jaden Daniels and Jalen Milroe run around. That's at -112. Then my two dogs. Give me Clemson money line over Notre Dame. That's at +130. And then give me NC State money line +180.
Hey, control.
Go, David. Go, David. Go, David. Go. No.
That was overtime. That was overtime.
No, we're overtime. No, we're overtime.
That was overtime.
Here's the dragon.
Nope. I didn't say
Here's the dragon. Let's go, Paulie.
Nope.
Nope.
Did we just lose
Play
in
my
overtime?
graphic, dog. Play my
I
graphic,
already
dog.
played it.
Did we just lose in overtime, man?
Yeah.
Couldn't finish.
I don't know,
Like,
man. We're going to have to do an NCAA review. Let's see if they vacate our win later.
Yeah.
That's what we'll
Did you
do.
get through
We'll
all
just
yours?
keep rolling.
Yeah, I got through.
Vacate.
Okay, all right, let's roll, baby. Oh, David, you're up. Sorry.
You want me to go?
But your name
Yeah,
is
hey, I can't tell right now because we're both locked in the same thing, and I love it.
Love
Michigan -32.5, -110. Lock it in. This game's going to go one of two ways. Michigan wins 56-0, or they lose on the last possession because this team isn't made up of what I think they're made up of.
Boys ain't made
Call
out of
everybody
crows.
cheaters week after week. Let's really find out how that works out for you. -32.5. I love it. Nebraska -3.
I know.
Michigan State.
Did you just feel a little nervy?
No, I like Nebraska -3.
With
You're over here
Hartensteiger?
tweeting out Matt Rule's pregame speeches,
Yeah,
and
that
I'm
was dope.
about to have a tear in my eye. I didn't know this guy could get people so fired up. I'm loving it right now. Nebraska's been on a roll. Michigan State's just not a good football team right now with all that they're dealing with as a program. I like Nebraska there. Notre Dame -3. Little bit more nervy about this one, though, on the road at Clemson. I know you like Clemson. Notre Dame's been figuring some things out after that blowout loss to Louisville. I like them -3, and that's at -112. Georgia Tech +2. I think this could be a good dog.
I think they're going to
Take them
win.
straight up. Georgia Tech at Virginia. You could take them straight up. I think the odds, hold on, scanning.
It's at
Georgia Tech.
Nuggets.
It's still at 2.
Plus, yeah. Oh, but +2 -110. But also, you could take them as a dog pick.
Oh,
I think it's
money line. I think it's
+114.
+120.
+120, something like that. Okay. But then my dog bets, we've hit the last 4. Kansas money line, +124. I like them to, I don't know if they're going to feel after the big win last week against Oklahoma. They're a little too high. But on the road, at Iowa State, and Iowa State's been playing better.
Yeah.
They really have been playing good football.
Since Matt Campbell got yelled at by a fan.
Can find some value there at +124 on a good Kansas team. And then Arizona, back to the well. Why not? Money line, +114, hosting UCLA.
That's wild, isn't it?
I didn't even think about it.
Iowa State started
What
playing a
happened?
lot better after Matt Campbell got into it with that fan.
Oh.
Sometimes it's just like, what's that movie where oh boy works at the gas, like goes in the gas
Sometimes you have to piss people off.
Well, no, it's like he goes in the gas station, the same guy who played Zuckerberg. I think his name starts.
Oh, you talking about
where they say
Luthor. He's the villain too. Lex Luthor.
Yeah. They
about-
say the thing to him in the gas station, and it turns him back into that agent that's just like beating the hell out of everybody.
They
That's what
lost
happened to Matt Campbell.
2013 to Iowa. They lost at Ohio. That's the
Yep,
Bobcats.
I remember that. I took the
10
under.
to 7.
Great
And they
pick.
lost to Oklahoma 50-20. They've won 3 straight since then.
Yep. All right, here we go. Let's roll through it quickly. Michigan -32.5, -110. I've been rolling with Michigan as my locks for the last 3 or 4 weeks. Ever since the Rutgers game, and I'm going to keep it with it. And I'm going to go to their best friend, Ohio State, -18.5 against Rutgers. I just think they're too talented. Don't believe in Rutgers that much. Notre Dame, this should be -3. I messed up, Justine. I sent it to 3.5. So we're sitting Notre Dame -3. I like Notre Dame in this football game against Clemson, even if it's on the road. Then Auburn -12.5. You definitely want to pick Vanderbilt in this game. I'm going with Auburn. Look, depending on the quarterback that they play, if that big kid, that lefty comes in, I don't think he's that good. I'm more worried about Seals if he plays. But I like Auburn 12.5 playing good football. Kansas money line, that should be +124. I'm not going to tell you why it's not, but there's a reason. So I'm rolling with you on that, Dave. Give me the LSU, the fight Jane Daniels, Brian Kelly, Grittian on the sidelines against Bama.
All right, let's get to donos.
Yes, let's get to these donos really quickly. I'm going to run through these as fast as I can. Let's go to Chase Mills with a $5 dono. I'm coming to the LSU Bama stream either super pissed or super hype, and there's no in between. Oklahoma 37, Okie Light 29, Boomer Sooner. Bryant Ward, $5 donation. I'm about 15 minutes behind, so y'all may have addressed this, but what are y'all's thoughts on Boise at Fresno? They're 3-point.
Come on, Fresno.
You need that for your conference.
I need Fresno for my conference parlay. Troy won last night. I got to win in the Sun Belt. Come on, I like Fresno in that game.
Let's go, Chad Smith, $5 donation. OU needs to attack deep and out. OSU runs a lot of man-to-man with the 7-man in the box. Also jump to an early lead. OSU's offense is not built to come from behind.
No, they're not.
Let's go to Lucas Blanchard, $10 donation. Jay Daniels, so for 350 yards, 3 titties, and rushes for 1. Tigers win 31. Go Tigers. Lucas, hashtag let's pray. I'm a fan of it. Luke Biard, $5 donation. Friday, November 3rd. Jake, tell us how the fighting, scratching, clawing, gnawing Tigers pull this ish off and leave with a pair of tusks.
God, I love when you asked me that because I actually got super duper deep into this game earlier in the week. I believe it's on Monday or Tuesday, David. I can't remember when we got super duper deep into it. But the way you do it is you hold Alabama to field goals in the red zone. You're not going to stop them in between the 20s. You're going to have to basically play perfect on offense. My biggest question is, if you're LSU going on the road, can you limit Alabama on Kool-Aid McKinstry running a punt back? I don't think LSU is going to struggle to be able to score enough. The question is, are they going to be able to give up enough? And are you going to blow it on special teams? Will Reichert had missed a field goal.
He's nice, man.
Year.
He's nice. Let's go. You got something you could do. I was going to say, Sam Giddens, $20 donation. Appreciate it, Sammy. Happy Flaming Dragon Friday. That overhit, baby. You can bet your bottom dollar. Whenever you guys shout out my level up for my 14-year-old special nephew, Sammy. He loves the dogs, and this new name is evidently now Max182Z. Love you guys. Absolutely. What's up, Sammy?
Sammy, happy birthday, buddy. Hey, happy birthday, Sammy. I hope it's the best one ever, my friend. I just had one as well, so I know the feeling.
All right, let's go to Ryan Gay, $10 donation. BYU coach talked about West Virginia's traditions and said in his press conference, it'll be nice to hear them sing Country Roads. Is he aware they only sing that after he loses, BYU?
Listen, I would much rather not give them ammunition. Look, it's not like BYU's players are going to be like, wait a minute. Coach wants us to lose?
Yeah, they got a mortgage.
I would much rather him say that than be like, they're definitely not going to play Country Roads because we're going to beat their ass to sleep. Burn that couch, loser. I'd much rather him say.
Let's go to the King Raikou with a $10 donation. Hey, morning, boys. My 50 Berg 4-legger at plus 1,293. You can't talk. Hit last night.
What?
Over in the TCU take.
Yes.
I took that.
Wake plus 7.
Okay.
Troy minus 5.5.
That a boy.
And the Steelers minus 3.
Get your paper, son.
Wouldn't have done it without you guys.
Paper, son.
And of course, Will Levis. Happy Flaming Dragon Friday. Absolutely.
Wow.
God, I loved it. Matt Walsh's alien. You tell him to come take it from me.
That over in the Texas Tech.
Paul goes where Paul wants. All right, here's what I got tonight. Wyoming. Over 2.5 touchdowns. Playing at home against Colorado State. In elevation, I know that Fort Collins isn't exactly at sea level. It's a little bit different at Laramie. I like him to pound it. Give me Wyoming over 2.5 touchdowns at minus 130. Then Boston College. Look, one of the tweets I had before the year, Boston College over 5.5 wins is free money. They didn't do it the traditional way. I mean, to be honest with you, they lost to Northern Illinois to start off the year, and I thought I had no chance of hitting. There are 5 wins. They could get it 6 tonight. Boston College going to Syracuse. Birthday dinner tonight. Let's go, Boston College. Jeff Halfley, I believe.
You taking them what? Plus 3.5?
Yeah, cover.
I like that. All right, I've got them plus 3 at minus 110, and I'm also going to take Wyoming, Colorado State under 42 minus 121.
All right, here, let's get into it. All right, give me Boston College plus 3 as well, David. A little bet buzz. There are a lot of bet buds today. I think being the Wyoming minus 5.5, that's going off at minus 120. Ace man.
Oh, yeah. Hey, so it's just...
Are you okay?
Yeah, it was just the way you ended that was weird. It's like not putting the end at the end of the book.
Because you just stopped talking.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah. There's no like the end at the end of the book. It's like... and then it's like...
Over and out.
Yeah, then he went to pick apples. No, the end. I don't know when it's over. Like,
what?
What's the next team? Give me Ace wants Wyoming minus 6 at minus 110. Then he's going to go Syracuse money line at minus.
Do that cheese, Danny. Do that cheese,
That's
Danny.
a birthday dance.
Do that cheese, Danny. All right, Paul. Is Will Levis mid?
Mid.
This is so early. No, 75%. He's played 2 games.
No.
I need percents, guys. We
I
do this
said
every
I
day.
said 52%.
No, you didn't. Now you just said it.
53% no.
I'll tell you what. All right, is Will Levis mid? No. 34%. Yes. 60.
All right. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate Tim Brando. We say long, everybody, again, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Go grab some merch. We got some new stuff dropping next week. And like the chances of me not having a great time at the Booster Tailgate this weekend? Going.
Give me that! Not up in here!
Gone. What a loser.